Hi guys, welcome to another 2-minute devotion with Dad. We're in Mark chapter 7, and this is the one almost goes on from the previous Devo, and gets a bit chunky, but it's really deep actually. So let's go for it. So Jesus is talking about impurity here. So the Pharisees come and see him. They have a go at Jesus for the disciples not washing their hands before eating. And Jesus says, basically, you bunch of hypocrites, you do far worse things. And then he actually calls the crowd to him and says, all of you listen, try to understand, it is not what goes into your body that defiles you, you are defiled by what comes from your heart. So Jesus is once again talking about the heart. Now just to recap, I spoke about the hearts being too hard to take in, and this word was cardia, and in the Old Testament was leb, basically referring to the same thing. And Jesus basically interprets for us as well, because he refers back to Isaiah 29 verse 13, and says, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Let's just go quickly to that one. And here it is here. These people say they are mine, that honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is nothing but man-made rules learned by rote. So this is the leb that in the Hebrew, and this here in the New Testament is the cardia that Jesus used. So over here he says, it is not what goes into your body that defiles you, you are defiled by what comes from your heart. And he doesn't actually explain it straight away. He waits until the crowd's gone and he's just with his disciples, and then he actually explains it. He said, it is what comes from inside you that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, cardia, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. That's basically us, the human race, in all of its glory. All these vile things come from within you, and they are what defile you. So Jesus is basically highlighting the futility of this hand-washing ritual. Where is it? Here. The Pharisees walked around so piously, thinking they were so good, so clean and pure, because they washed their hands. And Jesus is saying, basically, you're vomiting in the bath. You're defiling everything because of who you are and not what you do. Now just take a moment and think about that. We are defiled by who we are and not by what we do. That is the summary of the human race. How hopeless. When we think about it, no matter what we do, we are all of these things. And how do we get there? Well, in Jeremiah, it says, this is Jeremiah chapter 17, and it says, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give people their due rewards according to what their actions deserve. So, basically, we're screwed. We have no hope in this world for our own healing, of our own doing, that is. And basically, where did this come from? You probably have already guessed this, but let's go back there. And this all comes back into a circle. Forgot to mark this one, sorry. But yes, we're going all the way back to Genesis, the Garden of Eden. Because this is where it happened, isn't it? The serpent was the shrewdest of all. He says, well, we know the story, eating from the tree of the garden. Okay. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom that it would give her. She took some fruit of the fruit and ate it, gave to her husband. That moment their eyes were opened. They suddenly felt shame at their nakedness, and so they sewed fig leaves to cover themselves. This is all about sin. This is all about our sinful state. And so when we go back up to here, you're defiled by what comes from your heart. We are born into the sinful nature. It's our wiring. This is who we are. So all this rubbish about trying to be pure and all that, these are just, it's literally the word ceremony. It's ceremonial. And it's not physically able to make us do anything. And so these Pharisees were relying on their own teachings to cleanse them, and they were totally bypassing the reason why Jesus was here. So once again, this points to Jesus and the fact that he is here to cleanse our hearts, to sprinkle our hearts with blood, his blood. And it's by his stripes and by his blood that we are cleansed. And any time we try to rely on our own doings, anything that we do, even if we do something good or do something right, our heart is what is going to get us every time. And no matter how many times we try to cleanse ourselves with, changing things that we do or say, our heart is going to get us. And the reason I keep saying this is because we need to rely on Jesus and his forgiveness, his payment for our sin, his blood that heals us and enables our forgiveness. And all of this other stuff will just fall away. So then we really can honor the people with our lips, and then our hearts can be actually close to God. But we can't do that unless our heart is healed by Jesus, or cleansed by his blood. And we've just got to take a moment to think about that, because until that really sinks in, we are just going to keep our cardia, our heart is just going to keep driving us into these things without the daily renewal, the daily rewashing, the daily cross. It's all about reminding ourselves that our heart is desperately wicked. We are bent towards evil because of sin. And no matter how many times we try to cleanse ourselves, it's not going to work. Because even Jesus said, don't you see that the food you put into the body cannot defile? Your food doesn't go into your heart, but only passes through the stomach and then goes into the sewer. So basically, even the body knows how to extract itself of the crap. God's creation, God's very thing that he made, his masterpiece, knows how to get rid of the waste. But our heart does not. It actually produces waste. And that is why Jesus came to seek and save the lost. That's us. I could talk forever about this. Just think about this for a few minutes, even after we finish talking here. Just have a think about how futile it is to try to do this, just to make ourselves feel better for an hour or a few days or a week or two or a month. It's not going to work. We've got to get right with God. We've got to stay right with God. We have to stay humble and always coming back to him for a renewal. And this is why Jesus came. This is why Jesus died. And it doesn't apply to just this New Testament. This applies forever, for our lives, for beyond. So inner purity, it's so deep. So a bit different, but also going on from hearts being hard to take in versus our heart being the seat of our desires and ambition and motives and all these things. This is where it comes from. Bit of a challenging one today, but this is why we're here, once again, to grow and learn. And it took me quite a few days to be able to sort of think about this and prepare it, and because it was just there's more to it. Every time we look into it, or every time I look into it, it's just more and more, and it's actually really really sombering, some of this stuff, when we stop and slow down and just think hard, or think heart, as it were. But anyway, bless you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.